So let me read this off for you. I find this very interesting, and I'm curious to everyone's response in the live chat, as well as for those of you listening on the replay, right? Chicago's GOP leaders, along with members of the Black Community Collaborative and Neighborhood Network Alliance, held a press conference urging aldermen to vote no. We don't know where the money is coming from, said Steve Bolton, Chicago Republican Party chairman. We are not being told where that money is going to be spent. We are not being told how that money is being spent. It is irresponsible for the city council to appropriate what is no more than stopgap money that will get us through a month or two, and then the problem will still be there staring us in the face. Mind you, that was the Chicago Republican Party chairman, who is standing alongside Black Chicagoans, particularly those who are members of the Black Community Collaborative and Neighborhood Network, right? Alliance. My question is this: where is the CBC? Where's the Congressional Black Caucus? Right? Where is the Chicago Black Caucus? Where are they at? Where is what's the Al Sharpton? Where's Jesse Jackson? Where's Cori Bush? Where's Jamal Bowman? Where's Ayanna Presley? Anybody? Where are any of the Democrats that we all love to vote blue no matter who for, that claim to understand the trials, tribulations, and struggles of the community so much, but when you're in need right now, particularly in the city of Chicago, they're not standing next to you. It's the GOP who's standing next to you. I find that very interesting, and I'm curious to what you all think about that. I'm curious to what you all think about that in the live chat, as well as those of you who are watching the replay. The folks that we vote blue no matter who for, they're not standing next to Black Chicago right now. It's Chicago's GOP. It's Steve Bolton, the Chicago Republican Party chairman, that's standing next to Black Chicago. And I know what some of you may say, right? Those of you who love to vote blue no matter who, right? You'll say, well, this is a trick. They're just tricking you all, right? This is a trick. They're just tricking you all for, a photo op, and, they're going to use this for like either Trump or DeSantis. Don't believe it. They don't really care. It's a trick. There's no evidence that supports that this is a trick. There isn't any evidence at all. But there is 60 years, over half a century of evidence that proves that Black Americans have actually been getting tricked by the Democratic Party since 1964. Because as I've always said, and I will continue to say, right? You've been voting blue no matter who for 60 years of evidence, only for the end result to be that by 2053, the median wealth of Black Americans will be zero. And because of open border policy, you will now have slid down to fourth on the population list by 2065. There's plenty of evidence that supports that you've been getting tricked by the Democrats. There is no evidence that supports that at this moment in time, what's happening in Chicago concerning the GOP standing next to them, that this is a trick. Right? So what are you saying, TDU? Saying we got to go vote Republican now? We got to be Republicans? What I'm telling you is to use politics and elections and politicians for the tools that they are. That's what I'm telling you. I'm not telling you to go from voting blindly for Democrats to now go vote blindly Republican, but use politics and politicians as the tools that they are. Politics, by and large, is not going to be your overall solution. Voting isn't the overall solution. Those are all just tools to get what you need so that you can do the things that you need to do. So in this particular case right here, in this particular situation, as it pertains to the Chicago GOP leaders standing next to Black Chicago for this issue, it might be in your best interest. It might be in your best interest to side with them on this. It might be in your best interest come election time when, when it's time to vote and all this stuff again, local politics and everything. It might be in your best interest to actually entertain the Chicago GOP and see if you can make a deal with them and see if you can talk to them and actually work something out to where, hey, so when you get into office, all this prioritizing illegal immigrants over the Black community is going to come to an end. Yeah, we can agree on that. Okay, you can negotiate something that might only be temporary, but that temporary stoppage of just having the floodgate open of so-called migrants pouring into the city, a temporary stoppage of that, a stoppage of having undocumented migrants being allowed to work in the city where you now have to compete with them for jobs, a temporary stoppage of that could mean everything for your ability to fortify your community, the Black community in Chicago. It could mean it could mean a lot. It could mean a lot. Even if it's for only 2 years or 4 years, just to stop the bleeding. That's it. You're using them and you're using politics, you're using the vote, you're using the Republicans as a tool for this particular issue to stop and slow down the bleeding as it pertains to the so-called migrants. That may be more than enough time that you need in order to get yourself together to fortify your community. You get what I'm saying? Is what I'm saying making sense? Sometimes I feel like I'm not articulating things the best, but I feel like overall, generally, you all get what I'm saying. And I feel like what I'm saying is very logical. It's logical. Use them as the tools that they are. That's what you should be doing. Shout out to Cutthroat Nash for always coming through. I see a couple super chats came through while I was standing on my soapbox. And I'm going to get to you all right now. Cutthroat Nash always showing support. Thank you very much, brother. Cutthroat Nash says Dutchess County put a freeze on the asylum seekers from New York. That's what I'm saying. You see? They put a freeze on it. Dutchess County put a freeze on the asylum seekers from New York City. Entertain the GOP in Chicago at this moment in time for this particular issue. I'm not telling you now and forever. Use them as the tools that they are. And for this particular issue, use them for the tools that they are to see if you can get a temporary freeze on this kind of stuff. Get a temporary freeze on the so-called asylum seekers to give you a breather so that now Black Chicago has an opportunity to fortify itself. I feel like that makes logical sense, man. And anybody saying otherwise, you're all very fortunate that I don't actually speak my mind. And I'll leave it at that for those of you who think otherwise. I bite my tongue quite a bit. And, you're very fortunate for that. Shout out to big Hotep name right there. Extra Hotep with it. Kiefer Ka Heru Jutimus. Hey, shout out to you, man. Shout out, man. Shout out to all my Hotep hooligans out there. I gotta get t-shirts printed up Hotep hooligans, man. Shout out to all my Hotep hooligans. My Hotep hooligan brother or sister right here. Thank you for the super chat. Said, I think it's far past time our people stop voting on emotions and start voting on logic. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. To my fellow Hotep hooligan brother or sister, whichever gender you identify with, right?